We're ready to go live. Hi, Sam.
Meg, how are you?
I am great, sweet boy. How are you?
Another great day in the neighborhood.
I'm telling you, we're so lucky to be where we are, who we're with, and again, who trusts us. People are still coming to us looking for answers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you said, changing lives, saving lives.
that's it. That's it. And it doesn't. We don't know. We can't. The one thing we can't predict is the future. Oh, I'm going to out myself. I found the coolest phrase that I would love to own, and what I like to call myself, literally a forensic behaviorist.
Oh,
Oh, right. So
not bad.
we can go back, but a lot of times the pieces, right, they're
Yep.
missing, or and we're with critters who can't tell us everything, and people who won't.
They're very true.
Tell me
And
about
you know what? Most of the time, I know with my clients, it's difficult for them in the beginning to tell me everything because there's a feeling of guilt, even though they didn't create the problem. There's a feeling of shame that they couldn't handle it on their own. There's a feeling of inadequacy. And the idea is to break down those barriers and get them to realize, listen, we learn what we can from the past in order to move forward.
Hang on. That's a Samism. We learn from the past in order to go forward.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how we move forward. Change always occurs because of what we learn from prior interactions and environments. It's the same way all species. It's the way our dogs do. Think about how many dogs, the victory dogs are a prime example. Everything that those Michael Vick dogs went through, right? And look how many of those dogs not only did well, but how many of them actually turned into therapy dogs. A couple turned to certified service dogs, the whole bit. Animals move forward. They learn from the past, they move forward. Oh, I almost got caught by the lion, so the next time I know that's not the watering hole I'm going to go to, whatever it might be.
Okay.
If that human is scary, I'm not going to go to that human.
Okay.
And we need to do the same thing. Unfortunately, humans get caught up in the past with regrets and would have, should have, could have, and all that kind of stuff, instead of saying, whatever happened, good, bad, or indifferent, learn from it, move forward.
I love watching dogs. I love watching children, because that's what children do. And I think that I've been studying so much lately about memory and how it's stored, where it's stored, why it's stored. And that's what we go off of. And then I talk about literally prejudice. So I'll talk about something. Let's open your eyes to something new, because again, what I do, flower essences, homeopathy, it's something new. And people want to figure it out, but they might be prejudiced. They might have prejudged, have a memory.
Yes, preconceived notions, preconceived thoughts.
Yeah.
Prime example, off this subject for a second, but whenever I was a firearms instructor, right?
Okay.
We found that women who were shooting for the first time did so much better than men who were shooting for the first time.
Why?
Because culture has taught, and movies and all that, oh, you got to do it this way. And women were more natural about, well, this is okay. So I point it up. Oh, look at that. It works. It can be about anything. Why do people have preconceived notions about certain breeds of dogs, certain actions of dogs, certain behaviors of dogs? My dog is protecting me. And 99.9% of the time, no, it's protecting itself. It's trying to save the valuable resource that you are, because they need to feel safe.
That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. And again, we go back to those preconceived ideas. Yes. And also, who's willing to maybe stop, pause, and listen. Maybe the women are better able at that point, saying, I don't know everything. Maybe I can sit back and listen for a minute.
When you go to the various conferences that you and I go to, right?
Yeah.
We're tuning in on the webinars and the seminars and that.
Yeah.
I have never, ever, ever, ever heard anyone who presents at these conferences say, I know it all.
Right. Right.
You said studying the brain. What is the single most important emotion that the brain stores?
What is it?
Fear.
Wow.
Because that's how we survive.
Okay.
Think about if somebody says to you, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you in your life? You can probably come up with one or more.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says, give me the 5 best things that ever happened to you in your life, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Okay.
But fear is what is recalled immediately in order to survive.
Wow. Wow.
And that's how animals do it. And we are an animal, whether we want to admit it or not.
So that brings me to a question that I had this morning. You know, who is calling you and why? What are they calling you for? What?
So I get calls from veterinarians. I get calls from people who have dogs. I get calls from shelters and rescues because I primarily work with dogs who have moderate to severe behavior issues. It's actually nice when I occasionally get a call from a client who says, hey, you know what, you helped me years ago and I got a puppy. Oh, thank you, Lord. I get to have some like just puppy fun. But what I'm getting called for are dogs who predominantly are just fearful.
What age group, Sam? What age are these dogs, more or less?
Yes.
Across the board? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen fearful puppies. I mean, absolute basket cases at 4 and 5 months old, and all the way up to 13, 14, 15 years old, and everything in between. Age is not the factor. You know, fear is based on genetics. Fear is based on environments and interactions after birth. And we can always make change. We never know how much. And there's no such thing as a cure.
Okay.
All right. Fear, we're working to push fear further back and change a fearful stimulus into something that actually is pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's no magic wand.
Mm-hmm.
So when people call me, part of my job is to say, okay, ask them what's going on, get as much detail as possible, and also explain it realistically. We can make change. We never know how much. It's going to take time and effort. You can watch grass grow faster and paint dry faster in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to get there. And so generally that's what I get called for. And the issue, listen, fear encompasses lots of issues. It can be aggression, reactivity, resource guarding, can be hiding in a corner, it can be fear of thunderstorms and fireworks, separation anxiety. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. These are all fear-based behaviors though.
Mm-hmm.
And animals are good about expressing fear. Humans, not so much. As humans, we don't like to admit that we're afraid of something. We don't like to admit we don't know the answers. We don't like to admit we can't handle something. But these are all fear-based behaviors as well. Animals readily admit their fears and then try to find a way to cope with it.
Okay.
When they're in our homes, it's not as easy because they don't have the wide open spaces as if they were a stray or a free roaming dog. So now our job is to help them find those safe spaces, help them trust the environment they're in, the people that they're with. And so that's what I get called about.
Let's do a 1, 2, 3. I'm not saying everybody's the same, of course.
Yeah.
Everyone is unique. But what would be what is your observation or your interaction 1, 3?
Rephrase. I'm not quite sure I'm understanding.
Well, I'm wondering, is there something that people can do in their homes to encourage? So here's what happened. I interviewed Dale Ward, thanks to you. My goodness, what a book this is. Can you see look at all the Post-its I have.
Yep.
Dale, I had a blast with her. It's Raising the Worst Dog Ever, a survival guide to, memoir and a dog training manual. This was so much more than I expected because it has not only the great stories and true stories, but then it's got, the list of equipment you need, the try this, don't try that. It really is. It's a survivor manual. It really is. And here's what I came away with, something I I knew about but didn't have a name for it, and I think she gave credit to Dr. Ian Dunbar. I'm not sure. Treat, retreat.
Yeah.
Treat, retreat. And you and I have talked. You have shared with me on quite a few different times. They're looking to create space. So anything vocal or anything physical, they're pulling back. The hackles are going up. Treat, retreat, something like that. Tell us about that, creating a safe space for these guys.
Well, like when I go into a home and I know I'm going to encounter a fearful dog, and whatever it is, whether it's a retreat dog, an aggressing forward dog, a dog who is ambiguous because at that moment its brain is so screwed up it just doesn't know what to do.
Okay.
Whether I'm going inside the home or whether I'm outside in the yard, the idea is that the dog gets to make the choices about where it's going to go, what it's going to do. We give it space. If I'm in a home, and listen, we move coffee tables out of the way, we move furniture out of the way, whatever we got to do. But I'm always at the farthest end of where the dog might be entering the room or entering the yard, right? And it's up to the dog to make choices. But the idea is when they're coming in, there is high value treats. I use lamb lungs and tripe and all these different things so that even though the dog has heard me and smelled me, it's coming in all of a sudden being hit by these scent of this high value proteins. And the idea is, can the dog stop long enough to investigate or possibly eat? Or is the dog so scared and so wound up that it's got to blow right through it? 99 times out of 100, the dog's stopping, sniffing, possibly even eating, looking up, giving a quick bark or a growl. But if the dog starts to work its way forward and it's looking comfortable, no matter how comfortable it's looking, I turn around and throw treats behind it. So it has to retreat to get the treat. And therefore, I'm helping the dog create this space. Because in moments of fear, panic, whatever word you want to use, logic and reasoning are shut out. The brain is not supposed to necessarily think that way. It's supposed to survive. So treats, retreat, treats, retreat. And there's times when we can get through a session where a dog may for the first time actually come within 3 to 5 feet. Sometimes the dog just goes and says, okay, I've had enough, and they walk away. But we never put it in a position where it feels crowded.
And what will be their first quote reactions? And again, I know that every single one is unique, but what are we looking for as, pedantics? What are we looking for as uneducated behavior?
When people tell me that their dog is fearful of visitors, stranger danger.
Okay, right.
Usually what we're going to see is we're going to get that, they're going to get that intense bark. Maybe the low brow, we get the whale eye, the eyes are open wide, and we might get the ears pinned back. We get the hackles up, erection. We get all these different things, but there's no way to mistaken it. Oops, sorry.
That just proves how live we are. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's no way that we should have any idea other than the dog is uncomfortable. So either we, if possible, will go away, and if we can't go away, we'll take the dog away or help them find space. But it's normally very, very obvious. The dog who comes down slinks in, belly low to the ground, looking up. The face is really tight. The ears pinned, kind of hunching his shoulders, putting its head down, making itself small. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And we see all these different reactions. And like I said, the one that's always the hardest is the dog who walks in, barks, growls, slinks down, stands up, looks around. You're going, he has no idea what he wants to do right now. He's so uncomfortable that his brain's actually scrambled at the moment.
Right. Exactly. So you know what? As we were talking and we were going over these banners, let's talk about this one right now. Why not? Let's talk about this because that's exactly what you're talking about. Off-leash greeting behaviors. So
it starts with, it starts with puppies.
Okay.
It can be with dogs who just, don't really have the best social graces, don't have the best manners in the world. It can be the dogs who have stranger danger, but the idea is that for most people, they're looking for their dog. Somebody rings the doorbell, knocks, delivery man, whatever. The dog to be very calm, walk to the door, sniff, sniff, sniff. Oh yeah, hi, how are you? It's first of all, it's an unreasonable expectation Because if you haven't taught them something, why would you expect them to do it?
Okay.
And for the exuberant social dog,
because we haven't taught them something.
Right.
And what I kind of have to say, we already have, because when they're at the front door or, inappropriate greeting, I'm like yelling, stop, don't, and their behavior escalates. So I've taught them to escalate the behavior by telling them to stop. Go ahead.
And even if you didn't say anything, the more often the behavior can be practiced, all right, it's a self-rewarding behavior, therefore it becomes a default behavior.
Okay.
Right? So the idea is we're going to back that up. We teach incompatible behaviors. We teach go to the mat. We teach walking to the door on leash slowly. We teach having them default to maybe a sit or a down, or even if they're just standing there calmly. It takes work. You know what? There's nothing punishing. We want that. We want a social dog. We like the fact that our dog wants to meet people. Right? We just want to show them that, just like with humans, there's an appropriate way to do it. I always tell people I married into an Irish-Italian family. They are very touchy-feely. Okay, I'm German and English. So, we've all had to learn how to greet each other in an acceptable way.
I love that. And you've been married a while, so I'm pretty sure you figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we still have our moment. The big family gatherings, it can get a little,
loud. Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah.
And I still got to say to people, hi, how are you? And then kind of just turn to the side a little bit, and kind of fend off that hug.
I love studying these behaviors, because then with humans, it's just like when we were sharing with Amanda Ree and her husband Renee. When we were sharing with them, and they, he said, let them show you who they are, right? Yes. This is really, that has been invaluable for me. So again, I love what you're saying, and people can find more information at The Inner Dog. I know that, but what I want to do is really fast is also talk about what we did here. Let's, the webinar. That was so much fun.
You know what? I appreciate you inviting me to be involved with that. I looked at the names on there going, oh my God, I don't fit with this group. My biggest mentor is Sherry Woodard. Her and I go back a number of years.
Yeah.
But looking at all the other people that were on there, it's like, wow. And the information that comes out, which covered such a wide swath of topics, but in a way that it was understandable. You don't have to be a trainer to understand this. We all talked about real world situations, real world events, real world solutions. We talked about everything being realistic. We talked about the need for education. People just need to learn what a dog is. And for us to not be such a human about things. But the entire thing was just a lot of fun to be part of. And I hope people really take the time, listen, not for nothing, but what is it, 1995 or 99, whatever it is.
Yeah, $120, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, I wish a lot of our conferences were that inexpensive. But for anybody to go on there, get that, and then, divide it up. You don't have to watch the whole thing at once.
Right.
Watch whatever sections you want. But the information you're going to get out of there is so valuable, so important to anyone who loves dogs, who has dogs, who had dogs, who knows somebody who has a dog, whatever, to pass it on. And that's how we change and make things better for our dogs, education. And that's what that webinar did. That's what it does. I mean, can't recommend it enough. I gotta say, here's put it this way. If I wasn't part of it, I'd still be recommending it. You look at the names, seriously, you look at the names, you look at what was talked about, you look at the solutions that were talked about, you realize that it is dog friendly.
Yeah. Thank you. It was such a blast. And here's the most amazing thing. I asked 11 people. I asked 11 people, tops in their field, and the most wonderful, organic, seat of your pants, I'm going to do everything I can for the dog. and only one person was already prepaid on a vacation, and she could not join us. However, 10 people immediately said yes. We have 4 hours of content, 4 hours, 4 panels, and here they are. It's you and Dale with For the Sake of the Dog, Don't Be Such a Human. Oh, I love that one. We have Enrich This, all about enrichment in the home, in the shelter. I've got 2 fabulous trainers. And then, Puppy Hour. Puppy Hour.
That was awesome.
Oh my God. And Jen King will join us, you and I, at APDT next week. Jennifer King is also with us. And then we had leadership, cooperation, and second chances. And that was you, Sherry Woodard, Renee, and her husband, and his wife, Amanda. That was amazing. I was tearing up at the end. So what we did was we recorded on Zoom. We did not do one edit. You can see my I call it my wardrobe maladjustment, where I had a pink mattress and gray checkered pants, and I stood up at one point. I go, what am I doing? Standing. So I know what it was. It was the leaf blower outside. That's how organic we are. And it's 4 hours of content. And then Sarah Ordonez made the most amazing coloring book to go along with it. I know. So we can doodle. I've got a friend right here in Fallbrook, California, who put it on her iPhone, and she's walking and listening to it. So you don't have to sit down. And again, you don't have to eat all 4 hours at once. And
you shouldn't, because things will get lost.
Yeah. And then what we did, the coolest thing was Angela Huang from UC Santa Barbara. She went through and she figured out, okay, at 1 minute, 1 hour, 10 minutes, Sam's going to talk, and he's going to talk for this long. And then at 2 hours, so you can go back and redo it. You can stop, pause it, and then pick it back up. We really tried to make it so easy. And again, so I'm so grateful, and it's good. And the reason that I marked it at $19.99, which is 4 hours of content for $20, that is because I wanted to do my Prince reference and say party like it's 19.99. I know, right? So, we've got to keep it funny. And this is the other thing. This is how we're promoting it on social media. Dog, it's your master's class. Because again, I knew going down this tunnel of sequestering and isolating that I would have to keep my brain going. So I signed up for master classes. They've really been wonderful. And again, listening to conferences and webinars, etc. But this Dog, it's your master's class. Get them to sign up, because your life will improve so much. Oh my God. All right. But speaking of which, and I want to talk about this now. Okay. What Spa Trilogy? You said that yesterday. What the heck? What are you doing? Pet Life Radio.
Yeah, Pet Life Radio reached out to me because of an article that Lisa Spector, who created Through a Dog's Ear, had written a number of years ago, and Sherry and I were quoted in there because we were using music, among other things, to try to lessen the stress in shelter environments. And Pet Life Radio said, hey, listen, can you talk more about it? And I said, great, but you got to understand, it's not just music. We bring, it's a triangle. We bring in scent, we bring in lighting, we bring in music.
Okay. So whose oils do you use?
I use yours, of course. We use Magic, Imagine, Drama Trauma. I can't remember them all.
Okay, and those Calm spray. Yes. Yeah, you love that. So here, I can't say it on air, but this is our bee balm. I mean, I'm not saying BEE, bee balm, and this is amazing. And then we made this Magic spray for that dog named Magic, and it is, for that anger and frustration and redirection and all kinds of crazy stuff. And what we can do with these sprays is, again, stand back, create a space. I actually saw a cat post Katrina, a feral cat that was literally just decided didn't like me. I'm serious, Sam. I mean, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but this cat looked at me from across the kitchen, feral cat in the house, and looked at me and went, I don't like you, and started to, stalk.
Oh boy.
And then all of a sudden, before I knew it, it was in midair. Now, I had been working with a little beagle puppy over here, and I'm spraying the beagle, and all of a sudden, midair, and it was like Keanu Reeves stopped with that magnificent coat in the Matrix, and this cat just stopped in midair. You can't make this stuff up.
Right.
And that cat just, I mean, really, and it wasn't like it was like the startling of a water bottle. It was like, boom, these flower essences, these homeopathics they can be right there.
But part of the thing is, and this is why I like your products, is you do the research to find the commendations that work.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, in the spa, to creating the spa trilogy for shelters, whether it was for relaxation periods, whether it was for the end of the day, overnight, whatever, very low ambient lighting, music, many of the different ones from Through a Dog's Ear, which is now Icon Pet. And then the scent, spraying the bedding, putting it in the water, right? And even for the humans, the Calm Balm in the roll-on, to put it on their hands and arms, put it on the tips of the dog's ears, put it under their chin, right? All of these things to just help everybody relax a little bit, calm down a little bit. It works for people as well as the animals.
I was just going to question, were you the trainer on the East Coast that I said you put a little smudge under the chin and the next class went out and put it under the chin of the people? I love that. I absolutely. And again, I always put it on the back of my hands or my wrist, and the techs, the veterinarians, etc., they put it up on their forearms, so when they put on their gloves, they've still got this. And so many of the people do need to embrace the animal. Right. And then they pause there, the animal, you can feel them exhale.
Yes.
And then we're ready to go to the next thing. So,
when I see my clients, all right, the Calm Balm goes on my hands, the back of my hand, my forearms, all the way to my elbows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Then usually depending on the dog, I'll either spray magic spray or drama trauma.
Yeah.
Actually onto my clothing. Yeah. My pants, my shirt, my vest.
Yeah.
So this way, even when they get close, even when they come up to sniff, that's the first thing. Even from a distance when they're sniffing, they're getting that as well as just, my essences. Anything to get that moment where they go, oh, okay, maybe things aren't quite so bad.
Right.
I have to say, and I've had one particular, which I will always remember, having done, like I said, the Calm Balm and the sprays and that. And I had a client whose dog they brought in on leash, and the dog actually snapped the leash and came running. And I had nowhere to go. I was sitting in a chair back in the room, back to the wall. The dog came running, so I just sat there. The dog got right up to me, stopped, and then just stood there. So I'm thinking, okay, so this is the moment where, things are. And the next thing was the dog started just to sniff very heavily at my pant legs, which had magic spray on it.
Okay.
Turned around, walked back to its owner. And it was one of those 1 in a million. And I tell people, it's like everything else in life, there's going to be extremes at both ends of the spectrum. Yeah. It was that one moment that I always remember. The dog just went back and laid down.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, in the back of my brain, I'm going, oh, thank you, Meg. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, Meg. No stitches tonight.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, it's the flower essences in here are arnica, which is good for eliminating stored negative memories. Mm-hmm. Arnica montana. Everybody, all the sports people use it. Okay. Echinacea, which is great for the immediate environment. Rock rose, which is good for steadfastness. It's kind of like that dog didn't give up anything. Right. That dog stood fast who it was, but you were no longer part of that. And I can go back. Yeah. So Rock Rose for steadfastness. Star of Bethlehem is for emotional shock. You came in, all of a sudden you were a threat, and that was emotional shock, and I'm going to react accordingly. I've actually been in shock. I didn't know it at the time. I was 19 years old, and I literally came to as I was walking into a body of water. I was walking into a lake, and I remembered nothing. Then I remembered I had news that I didn't want to hear. And I quote lost it. So yeah, so I mean I can, and that Star of Bethlehem, it's the only thing I took as a single to Katrina with me, and I took it in very small little 5 ml bottles, and I mean we helped people that literally were headed to the hospital and said, I'm not going until I get my Star of Bethlehem from Meg. So again, that emotional shock, how do I behave now? How do I behave now? And they stop, they assess the environment. The environment is no longer a threat. And then they can reach it. Wow, Sam. Wow. Wow.
Look at that dog Magic from down in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you created something just for that dog.
Yeah.
And yet from that one dog, look how many other dogs that specific blend has helped. And let's face it, Magic was not easy.
Oh my gosh, no.
In the least sense of the term. I mean.
Oh, and that owner was so dedicated to him. Yeah. She was not going to give him back up. And I think he outweighed her. He was a big dog. All right. Yeah.
Was, living in a row home, busy street, lots of people, dogs, terrible history that he had. Listen, and the fact is he was on behavioral meds, and they did help to a point, but we needed something that would work literally instantaneously.
Yeah. And she needed that because we don't use the redirect word anymore, but that is what, he was so in the zone. And I still talk about red zone because if you look at those eyes, a lot of times they're red sparks, and he went into that zone and could not help himself. I know he didn't mean to do that. But I needed to keep her safe. So to keep her safe, it was like, take a step back, don't approach him, spray this. And you were magnificent with talking her into it also, that there is something. Yeah.
But again, look at from one dog, look how many others now.
That's great. Yeah. We do learn, and we learned the hard way. That was a tough young man. So speaking of which, but let's talk about this really fast. The APDT, Association of Professional Dog Trainers, virtual conference next week. And you're going to be there with me. And so is Jennifer King from North Carolina. And we are going to be in the booth.
Yep. Sherry's going to be presenting, I think.
Sherry, and Katie, Dr. Katie Kangas and I, we have a panel, and it's called Working as a Team.
Yes.
Working as a team. So we've got a veterinarian, a behaviorist, and the woo-woo train, I don't know what, it was so funny, Sam, when we put this all together, and when we put it all together, the initials behind Dr. Kangas's name is like DVM,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Takes up another line, and then Sherry, with her history, takes up another line, and then we have Meg Harrison. we have nothing. I mean, we've got crazy lady who never gives up.
Our California hippie flower girl.
Yeah, really. The flowers for power. I mean, what can I say? This is full circle. And I have been doing this that long. I have been doing this since the early 70s. And, I've learned so much. Addicted youth, that's how I started knowing that flower essences really had power, was working with teenage alcoholics in the early 70s and getting breakthroughs.
Wow. I'm trying to think, I don't remember which of the sprays, but I don't know if it was you who talked or somebody who used it who talked years ago, trying to get horses out of a barn during one of the wildfires.
Yes,
and you spray it on a cloth and put it right up against the horse's nose.
Absolutely.
That 10 seconds where the horse wasn't trying to kill them so they could get them out of the barns.
Right. It wasn't me, but somebody did that with our stuff. And the good news is we've got, quite a few bottles out there now. The other one that really comes to mind about horses was a stallion who had gotten injured, and he was in a corral with a locked gate. He was so valuable that they literally put a padlock on the gate. Here's what happened. The horse slipped. He went under the gate, and the wires were keeping his leg in place. And this stallion could not stop struggling, could not. The owner could barely get near it, and all she did was she opened up the bottle and she took out a few drops and she just sprinkled it on the horse because she didn't even want to spray. She figured out.
Right.
She just sprinkled this stuff. He quit fighting, and he waited for them to come with bolt cutters and get him out.
Yep.
And he waited. They had to push his leg down to get the wires out. So again, these stories, you can't make this stuff up. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. As are you. Sam, thank you so much. Thank you.
Good to see you again, Meg.
And one more thing I'm going to say before we quit here. This is you, Mr. 3800 in the house. These are the views that you had on our live Facebooks. That's the number of people who have watched your entire talks with us. That's a lot.
I thank them. I hope I'm helping them in some way.
Oh my God. Hey, listen, they do not, my people are as honest as I am, and they would not come back. They would not recommend you if you didn't help us. And you help us in such an easy way, a digestible way, that things that we can do, you empower us. And therefore, we're able to influence our animals.
Well, let me just say that I appreciate the compliments. But for anybody out there who's having whatever challenges or issues there might be, small, big, whatever else, there's two huge places you can get help from. One is from the Pet Professional Guild, and you can do a trainer search. Everybody on there is a force-free, fear-free, pain-free, science-based trainers, vet behaviorists, etc. As well as on Victoria Stillwell's Positively site, all of the VSPDTs, and we are a small group. We're not the ones who have gone to her school. We were already well into our careers in that, and then we were selected to see if we could be part of her group. And again, these are trainers, force-free, fear-free, pain-free, science-based, who have deep understandings of behavior. So between the two sites, wherever you are in the country, including wherever you are in the world, the UK, Australia, Belgium, Spain, etc., they can reach out to those and find someone to help them.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
All right.
And the third one, I will see you at the Association of Professional Dog Trainers next week. And Katie and Sherry, you, me, and Jennifer King from North Carolina, we will all be there. Oh my God, the booth's going to be so crowded. Sam, I hope to see you in person as soon as possible. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Listen, be safe, be well. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye.